What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I got another exciting video for you today because we're going to be talking about G.I. Joe, and not just any G.I. Joe. We're going to be talking about 12-inch G.I. Joe. And the ones I'm going to show you today are from the Valor versus Venom era, and they all represent characters that existed in the real American hero genre of G.I. Joe. And the ones we're looking at today are Sgt Bazooka, HiTech, and Duke. And all of these use the Classic Collection style articulated body. And I'm not going to go over the articulation in this video, but I'll put a link in the description to my video where I show you what the articulation is like on Classic Collection G.I. Joes. So if you want to find out how these things move around, just go ahead and watch that video because it explains the articulation on various kinds of G.I. Joe bodies. So I've customized each of these in one way or another, and the one I've customized the least is over here. So this is Sgt Bazooka. And the main thing that I swapped out on this figure is the boots. The original boots that came on this figure were the Hall of Fame style boots, and they just look kind of clunky looking, and so I swapped them out for more modern Classic Collection style boots. I really like this figure, and I think the other thing that I added was the canteen. I don't think that originally came with this figure. And as you can see, he comes with a bazooka, so really fantastic accessory. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you in a second. But I wanted to show you the head sculpt because this helmet is removable, and you can see what that head sculpt looks like underneath. I kind of wish I had bought multiples of this figure because this head sculpt is actually really decent. And yeah, it would have been worthwhile to actually pick up more than one of this particular figure. I really like all the detailing on the pants too. As you can see, they include these pockets on the side with a little button detail. The belt is a little clunky looking. I may actually swap that out at some point for something a little smaller. It's just a little too bulky for the figure. But let me demonstrate for you how the bazooka works. As you can see, there's a missile launcher on here. So all you got to do is actually hit this button and the bazooka launches out the end of it. So just like that. So pretty cool. And I like the fact that they decided to include a working bazooka. Actually, a lot of these sets that were around during this era actually included a lot of missile launching gimmicks, but this one actually is worthwhile to do because it is a bazooka and it should launch. So this also includes a strap, so you can kind of sling this over the figure's shoulder too. So very cool accessory. I like that a lot. So that's bazooka. And then next up, we're going to talk about HiTech. So this figure I've customized quite a bit. This is one of those figures that came with sort of molded clothing on top. So I decided to go ahead and give him a real shirt. I was able to find one that would actually fit over top of his molded clothing. You can see a little bit of the collar of the molded shirt underneath there. So I may try and do something else with this figure at some point down the road. I may actually swap the head out onto a different figure completely and just do a total redo on this. So the belt and this weapon here were included with this. I did swap out the boots again. This one came with very clunky looking boots, so I swapped them out for ones that were a little bit more reasonable in size. I also gave him this weapon. I gave him this radio. I gave him a canteen, and I think there's a flashlight over here. So yeah, I added a bunch of accessories to this just to beef him out a little bit more than he was originally. So the weapon that he came with is kind of interesting. It's sort of this modular kind of thing that they created where you could actually take the weapon apart into various pieces and sort of customize it. So I can show you some of the pieces that came with it. I don't think I have all of them, but as you can see, this sort of plugs together in segments, so you can kind of take it all apart. Kind of an interesting gimmick. It allows you to sort of recreate multiple kinds of weapons. So one of the ones you can actually do is you can kind of elongate it, and it has a bipod and also has this missile launcher here. And you can even extend it out farther by putting this part onto the end of it. There's actually a part you can put on the rear of the weapon as well. So you can kind of create this really long looking kind of thing. It kind of looks a little awkward when you got it all put together, though. It kind of has a tendency to bend downward, so it does look a little strange. But I do like the sort of modular components of this. It's pretty interesting. And so this missile launcher and the one that comes with Duke are actually the same. So I don't have the original missile that came with this one, but this one is exactly like it. and it actually fires the missile out the end right here. So all you gotta do is hit this button like this, and it fires. So that's what that's like. And this came with one other modular piece, which I'm not really too sure how it fits to the weapon. It's actually two pieces. So, and they fit together just fine, but I'm not really too sure how this is supposed to work as a component for the weapon. So I haven't really figured that out. If there were instructions with the original set, they probably gave you some details in terms of how to use this. But I no longer have that, so I'm not really too sure. So, so that's the HiTech figure, and I'm pretty happy with the way that looks right now. I may do some more customizing on it. Again, I may swap out the head onto a different body altogether and really kind of change it up more significantly than it actually is. Okay, so the last figure we're going to talk about of this group is Duke. And this isn't just an ordinary Duke. This is actually the talking voice effects Duke. So, which is kind of a bizarre feature. It is battery operated, and his mouth actually moves. And the first time I saw this, I was sort of creeped out by it. But I think it's kind of a fun gimmick, and I think I ended up picking this up when it eventually went on sale. I remember this particular figure came with a lot of accessories, and I have actually customized this quite a bit differently from the way he originally appeared. I don't think he originally had green pants. These boots are definitely different. These things that are attached to his legs, this weapon is different. I think I even swapped out the hands on the figure. So I made quite a bit of modifications to this. I don't think it originally came with this flak vest. So yeah, there's a lot of differences between my version of this figure and how it originally came. But the voice effects is pretty much the same as it was when I originally bought it. And I'm surprised actually that this sort of rubberized face hasn't degraded over time, because this is made out of kind of a fragile material. So I want to demonstrate for you what the voice effects thing is like. Again, it's a little creepy looking, and I actually think they could have handled it in a much better way. But I'll show you what it's like. Basically, he says a whole bunch of phrases when you hit this button on his belly. So let's demonstrate this. So yeah, it's really strange, and actually, when you press down a little more lightly on it, he sort of speaks instead of shouts. So there's some variation between the way the phrases come out depending on how hard you hit that button. So if you hit it lightly, yeah, he sort of talks instead of shouting. So it's kind of ingenious. I'm not really too sure how they were able to accomplish that. But it's quite cool. So I'll play as many of the phrases as I can for you so you can see what they're all like.
Once and for all, this team stays together. We must stop Cobra at all costs. First wave, follow me. Good move, soldier. Work together. That's an order, soldier. On the double, soldier. Lock in. Load. Get the others. Meet me there. We're taking this battle to Cobra. Snake Eyes, Jinx. We're going in. We do this fast and clean, people. Yo.
So that's all the various phrases, and there's also the option if you don't want to push the button for the individual words, you can actually hold down the button and it'll read the entire phrase. So if you do this,
We have to stop Cobra once and for all.
so I just holding down the button, it actually says the entire phrase out, and then it stops once that particular phrase is done. So then you can push it again for the next one.
This team stays together.
So yeah, so there's several different options in terms of like how you make the voice actually work. It's pretty ingenious. Again, I think it's a little creepy, but you know, in terms of the engineering that went into making that happen, it's pretty cool. Also, they included neck articulation with this, so he does get a swivel. So even though you know there's that mechanism to make the mouth move, it actually doesn't inhibit him from actually moving his head from side to side. So that's kind of a cool feature. He came with this weapon, I think, and I may end up customizing this one at some point too, because it could use a sling. And this one also has the feature where you can hook this missile launcher to the base of it. I demonstrated that missile launcher for you earlier, so you know what that looks like. Just in terms of the figure, I'm pretty happy with the way I customized it out. I think it is more in keeping with the original look for Duke. One of the other accessories that came with this was this launching grappling hook. So that's kind of a cool accessory as well. Like I mentioned, this particular set was kind of elaborate and came with quite a few accessories. So this has a rope attached to it, and you just hit this scope and it launches out the grappling hook. So again, this is actually a pretty cool accessory if you're an adventure team collector. This actually might come in handy if you're looking for accessories to add to your collection. So that's pretty cool. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos about 12-inch G.I. Joe and other action figures, think about subscribing to my channel because I will be covering more of this kind of stuff in future videos. Until next time, I hope you're having a great day, and thanks for watching.